You think you're being careful with money, but you're actually spending more than you realize. Not on big things, not on luxury, but in small, invisible ways that quietly drain your wallet every single day. And the worst part, you don't even notice it happening. Most people believe money problems come from big mistakes, buying something expensive, making a bad investment, or losing a job. But in reality, it's the tiny, repeated decisions that slowly eat away at your finances, that extra subscription you forgot about, the just one coffee habit, the small convenience fees you ignore because they feel insignificant. None of these feel dangerous on their own, but together, they create a silent leak. In your financial life, the problem is not that you're careless. The problem is that modern systems are designed to make spending feel invisible. You tap your phone, and the money is gone. No physical cash leaving your hand, no emotional reaction, just a smooth, effortless transaction. And because it's so easy, your brain doesn't register it as real spending. Think about this. If every time you spent money, you had to physically hand over cash and watch it disappear, you would feel it. You would hesitate. You would question yourself. But with digital payments, subscriptions, auto-renewals, and one-click checkouts, that friction is gone. And without friction, spending becomes automatic. Let's say you pay for 3 subscriptions, maybe a streaming service, a music app, and a cloud storage plan. Individually, they feel cheap, but together, they might add up to more than you realize each month. Then add food delivery fees, ride-hailing convenience charges, small online purchases, and suddenly, a big portion of your income is disappearing without a clear memory of where it went. And here's the dangerous part. Because these expenses are small, you don't feel guilty. You don't think twice. You tell yourself, it's just a few dollars. But that mindset repeats again and again until those few dollars turn into something significant. You're not overspending because you're reckless. You're overspending because your environment is designed to make it easy, and your awareness hasn't caught up yet. So why does this happen so easily? Why do intelligent, disciplined people still lose control over small spending? The answer lies in how your brain works. Your brain is not designed to track hundreds of tiny decisions every day. It prefers shortcuts. It groups small expenses into something that feels harmless, almost invisible. This is called mental minimization. When an expense is small, your brain labels it as unimportant, and once something is labeled unimportant, it stops paying attention. That's why you don't remember every small purchase you make, but your bank account does. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine you spend just $2 extra every day without noticing, maybe on a snack, an app, or a small upgrade. That's $60 a month. Over a year, that's $720, and over 5 years, that's $3,600 gone without a clear memory of where it went. And that's just one small habit. Now multiply that by multiple habits. A delivery fee here, a subscription there, a limited time offer you didn't really need. Companies understand this psychology very well. They don't want you to feel the full cost up front. They break it into small, painless amounts. Monthly billing instead of yearly. Add-ons instead of full prices. Free trials that quietly turn into paid plans. And then there's emotional spending. You don't just spend because you need something. You spend because you feel something. Boredom, stress, loneliness, even happiness. Buying something gives you a quick dopamine boost. It feels like progress, like reward. But that feeling fades quickly and the habit repeats. Another hidden factor is default behavior. If something is set to auto-renew, you don't question it. If a payment is automatic, you don't reconsider it. Your money keeps flowing out, even when your attention is somewhere else. You are not actively deciding, you are passively allowing. The truth is, you are not in full control of your spending, not because you're weak, but because most of your spending is happening on autopilot. And until you become aware of that autopilot, nothing will change. So what's the solution? It's not about cutting everything off or becoming extremely strict. It's about making the invisible visible again. Because once you see where your money is actually going, your behavior naturally starts to change. Start with awareness. Track your spending, not just the big expenses, but the small ones too. For 1 week, write down everything. Every coffee, every app purchase, every fee. This isn't about judging yourself, it's about seeing the truth clearly. Most people are shocked when they realize how much they spend on things they barely remember. Next, remove automation where possible. Turn off unnecessary auto-renewals. Don't let your money leave your account without your awareness. When you have to actively approve a payment, you create a moment of pause, and that pause is powerful. Then, create small friction. It sounds counterintuitive, but friction is your friend. Log out of shopping apps, remove saved payment methods, make it slightly harder to spend money. That extra step gives your brain time to think instead of reacting impulsively. Also, question every small expense, not by asking, "Can I afford this?" but by asking, "Do I actually need this?" Because affordability is dangerous. It allows unnecessary spending to feel justified, but necessity forces clarity. And finally, replace unconscious habits with intentional ones. If you enjoy buying coffee, that's fine, but make it a choice, not a default. If you use subscriptions, keep the ones you truly value and remove the rest. The goal is not to stop spending, it's to start deciding. Here's the final insight. Money doesn't disappear all at once. It disappears quietly, in small pieces, over time. And if you don't pay attention to the small things, you'll never understand the big picture. The moment you become aware, everything changes because you're no longer spending without realizing. You're choosing, consciously, where your money goes. And that's where real control begins.